Well, good morning, everybody. This is Robin from Roaming with Rover, and here we are on day 8 of the 12 days of Christmas. And today we are going to have Himalayan green tea. So I expect this is going to be a very basic green tea. Let's get it open and get it cooking. Yes, it does. Smells like a very, very basic green tea. Well, that is going to be a good a good relief after yesterday. Boy, yesterday was wild, huh? This actually smells nice compared to yesterday. Look at that. 2 rows empty, 1 row to go. Himalayan green tea. I didn't even look it up because I thought it would just be green tea. 100% green tea. Yep. Pretty basic. All right. See what that looks like in there. Looks like tea. I expect this is going to be very, very mild and not very dark at all. Not very dark at all as she takes her little bath in her tea. Yep, we'll let that sit for a few minutes. Let that sit there. Well, we made it. Here we are. January 1st, the first day of a new 2024. I actually had to write that down yesterday as I was writing out a planning sheet for some of my crochet projects for the year. And I wrote 2024 on. I think it's the first time I had to write that and had to really think about it. I know as I'm filling out forms and things, I will mess that up. And I will write the date wrong on things. I do that for quite a while. Since I don't work a regular job anymore, a full-time job, and even in the jobs that I do work, because I work several little jobs, but I find I rarely have to write out the date anymore, and we almost never write checks out anymore. I know back in the day, that was the first place I would mess it up, was when I was writing out a check. That would be the first place I would mess up the date. And everybody would always laugh about that. But so we hardly ever write checks out anymore, so that's not a thing. But we would still mess it up when we were writing a date out on something at work. But I don't do that anymore. So maybe on a timesheet I might mess it up, something like that. But I was doing it when I was writing out my planning sheets, when I was planning out what was I doing? I was making out how long it was going to take to work on my different projects, scheduling out my different projects, when it was going to start and when it was going to end. And that's where I was writing out the dates. And so I had to be real careful. It was January 7th was when it started, and it was October when it was going to end. So I had to be very, very careful to write the dates out. So that was fun. Because even when you write it in a planning, into a calendar, the dates are already there, so you don't have to think about that. So it is very, very foggy today and very cold. I do have to go out today. I have to pick up some things that I ordered. Some things came in. So I have to make a run to go do that because I did not leave the house yesterday. Just like I could have gone and gotten it yesterday, but I did not want to leave the house yesterday, and I did not have to. So today I do have to go and pick those things up. But Mr. did make a run in to go do some things. He put gas in my car for me so I don't have to do that. And I think the store's open in about half an hour, so I will make a run and go pick up the things that I ordered. This is just smelling like a very, very basic tea. I don't know that it's going to have much flavor yet, so we're going to give it a little taste, although as we have learned, when it's hot, 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 it doesn't have a whole lot of flavor until it starts to cool off. And then that's when I can actually start tasting things. Oops, I got a little bit of tea in there. Tea leaf. It's still too hot for me. I'll let that cool off. Yeah, it tastes like a very, very basic tea. I'm just gonna let that sit in there. I have been planning out my projects. I have several projects. I've got the knit along that I'm just getting started with. That officially starts on Sunday. If anybody wants to join in with that. I have another Christmas stocking, and I only am starting that because it is a learning how to do Fair Isle. And there were 2 or 3 different, in fact, there was a lot of different Fair Isle projects that weren't as complex as this one. But this one had several different things that it was teaching me the Fair Isle, which is also called waistcoat, but it also was teaching me, which is also called the knit stitch for crochet, but it was also teaching how to do color changes and using multiple colors in one project. And a lot of the other projects that I looked at only had 2 colors, and this one had 5 colors. Five colors. I lost one nail. My one nail popped off. It's sitting right here. Here's the nail. So I'm trying not to show that nail today. It's using 5 colors in one project. So this is the one project that I chose to do because it really is going to teach me a lot of different things in one project. So that's the project that I chose. So it's another very beautiful Christmas stocking. So I'm going to be working on that this week. I have pulled a whip to work on, and I am going to be working on my squares for Dana from Dana's Wonderlust Crochet. We've got a challenge to do. It's not really a challenge. It's a square exchange, like we did the Christmas ornament exchange. It's a square exchange. So when we do the exchange in May, we're going to end up with a lapgan that all we'll have to do is sew the squares together. Then we'll end up with a lapgan from a whole bunch of different people. We will have received the squares, so that's going to be really nice. So I'll start working on those this week. And my cross stitch, which is probably in here. You can see I have tied it up. I don't have tons of yarn everywhere, so I can't. It's in here somewhere. Oh, there it is. I moved my box, so my stuff is on the other side. So I've got my cross stitch that I'll be working on a little bit this week, and a couple more hats I'm calling it Hats for Homeless, which I know is a terrible name, but it allows me to remember it. So I've got my hats for the homeless, and I'll be doing a couple more of those this week. And I cannot remember if there's anything else. Oh, yes, I will be starting my... Oh, it's all the way over there. I'm going to be working on my Sholich Afghan. And I know Nikki's Homemade Crafts, Nikki's something like that. Nikki's Handcraft Homemade something. She has got the most beautiful, stunningly beautiful free crochet along. And it just dropped today or this week. And if that's something you're the least bit interested in doing, it's free. Nikki's Homemade Crafts. And it is gorgeous. I mean, gorgeous. That's the blanket. And it's free if you want to join in. And it's mosaic, which, you know me and how much I love the mosaics. And I was getting all excited about doing it. And then I realized the Sholich, which is already on my list to do, was almost identical to that, and I just grabbed it down. And so I'm going to be doing it in chunks, just like her mosaic is doing. It's in sections, and 1 section a month. So to me, that's much more doable instead of, I have this huge blanket I have to do. So I'm going to do 1 section a month, 1 stripe, I'm showing you hers instead of mine because it's the same general idea. So you see how each one of those, the lighting is not good, but you can tell each one of those is a section. There you go. Each one of those is a section, and each stripe. So rather than going, okay, I have to do this whole thing, I'm just going to do one stripe a month, just like she's doing on that. That never occurred to me. I'm thinking, oh, I have this whole big blanket I have to do. Well, my blanket is also chunks like that, different sections. And so I'm going to do the exact same thing every month. I'm just going to do one section. Then I'm not going to get myself burned out on it. I'll be able to do my section. I'll be excited about my section, and then I'll set it aside. And then next month, here comes time to work on my section again. It'll be fresh and I'll be excited. And I think that's going to be a good way to work on some of these whips that I've got sitting around. I won't feel so overwhelmed with the whip and the whole big project if I just set aside one day a month to work on that whip. Then I can work on it for a while. And if I'm still interested in continuing on after that day, I can keep going. But if I'm feeling overwhelmed with it, I can set it aside, set a time to work on it again next month, and then pick it up again. And I think that's going to help me get through some of these projects that I'm feeling overwhelmed with, where there's such a big project. So that's kind of how I'm feeling. Like some of these huge things I'm just going to work bite-sized pieces of and try to get through. So that's my plan. That's kind of my goal for dealing with some of these big projects that I've been putting off because they're overwhelming. Okay, let's try this. Yep, that's good. That is just feels like a very basic tea, not strong like the black teas are. Of course, we didn't expect it would be. It's good. And it's a green tea, which, you know, I'm not a fan of the green teas, but this isn't bad at all. I would very much enjoy this. The green teas do not, if I'm correct, you guys correct me if I'm wrong, the green teas do not have caffeine. So this is something we could absolutely enjoy in the evening. Or on a day where we've already had too much stimulation. If I'm correct. You guys let me know if I'm wrong. The green teas typically do not have, or if they have less caffeine than the others. So this is something that we could enjoy when we need to have some quiet time. Thank you so much for joining me and listening to me ramble on. This one was a little bit longer than normal. I got excited talking about the crochet. Thank you so very much. I hope to see you tomorrow. We are winding down on this thing, and I have really enjoyed this time that we've had together. Hope you have been able to grab a cup and sit down and enjoy me for a few minutes as well. Bye-bye.